friends, welcome to VTeach. Now we are going to discuss about deassemblers or else decompilers. So what is this deassemblers or decompilers? We need to know. So in the previous topic, compilers topic, we discussed that the difference between the cross compiler versus the compiler. There we thought one example, that is nothing but we are forwarding a message called as an hi to my friend, right? So how it was happening, we will get back once. So I am sending a hi message to my friend. So I type hi in my mobile, and it will be converted to the mission level language, so which was understood by the system what we are having. And then this mission level language message will be forwarded to the receiver path, and then this will be converted back to the hi message. Means here the box part, here this box what I drawn, this we can consider as a compiler path, and this one we can consider as a decompiler, right? So if you are going to the deassembler, so this one we can consider as a deassembler path, and this one we can consider as a deassembler. So like this, the compiler is mandatory as well as the decompiler is also mandatory, because so we need to convert my message to the mission level language as well as my receiver path, the receiver path who is there, he also need to revert back to the normal high level language message. So the mission level language we can't understand basically. So for that reason, the decompiler or deassembler is also mandatory in every systems which we are using, the electronic devices. Okay, so here I wrote up some of the points. We will look into these points. So deassembler, it is a tool obtaining high level codes for machine codes. From machine codes we are getting a high level language back. And next point, converting machine codes to the assembly codes, or else is called as a deassembler, we can say, right? And the decompiler is a utility program to translating machine codes to the corresponding high level language instructions. So we already discussed these points here. In the diagrammatic representation, we discussed these points. And the deassembler or decompiler, it's a reverse engineering process we can transfer. So by translating the embedded firmware into assembly or else to the high level languages. So this is the main point. The reverse engineering process is the main point in this particular topic. Okay, so if any person in the exam point of view, if you are getting 7 marks question, then you need to write, you need to take this type of example which is familiar to you, and you need to explain that example format, then you can get easily the 7 marks. The next concept is nothing but the simulators. So what is meant by a simulator? What we need to know. See, let's take an example. I am trying to connect some of the components as a hardware. Let's take an example. I need to connect one resistor in my hardware component, like just like an EDC lab. But fortunately or unfortunately, I need 10k ohm resistor, but I am having only 100k ohms resistor, kilo ohms resistor. So I doesn't have this 10 kilo ohms resistor. So what is the purpose of the resistor? We all know that if you are using this resistor, it will restrict the flow of current. Means it will standardly flows the constant. It will constantly flows the current. So if I am doesn't having this 10k ohm resistor, then the light will be decreases. The output what we need, that will be not accurately getting, right? So we need to go back to the shop and we need to purchase at that time. So you have a shops nearby you, there is no problem. But if you doesn't have a shops nearby you, or else the shop, what the electronic components is there, they doesn't have this 10k ohm resistor, then there is a problem for us. So to eliminate this problem, we are using this simulator concept. So what is this simulator concept? We need to know. The simulator concept is nothing but the simulator consists of different electronic components we are using. So it is a software tool which we are using for the simulating purpose. Means, so the software tool which consists of various conditions which we can use in our hardware path. So it will work like a hardware path, but it is in the simulation, it is in the computer software. So by using the software, we are designing the hardware content and how it looks like. Okay, so that is nothing but the simulator, we can say. So if the software which runs on the host machine or a powerful graphical user interfaces environment, so it helps the system development to simulating the target processors. So if you have a hardware processor, then no problem. If you have a software processor, then we need to use this. And one more point is, if you are using this simulator concept, if you have any bugs, you can clear easily by using this simulator. But if you are using the hardware contents, then there is a problem that if you doesn't solder properly, then there is a problem occurrence in our result point of. But here in the simulator part, if first of all we write down the program and then we will check the by using the simulator, then we will, if the result is correct, accurate result what we are expecting, then we will go to the hardware part. Like that we are designing our embedded systems. Okay, so we can execute and we can verify the result what we are getting for our particular program what we wrote. So for that reason we are using this simulators. So there are different types of simulators are there. In our embedded system we are using the Proteus simulator 8th version. Most preferably we are using the 8th version. Okay, so the features of the simulator based debuggings are, one is it is purely software based, so it doesn't require any additional components. We just require the computer. Okay, and next we doesn't require any real-time target system is not there, and it is very preemptive, and so lack of featured IO support is there. Everything will be we can simulate. So what are the advantages of the simulator based debugging we need to know. So it is a technique which is easy and straightforward. We can directly dump our program into the software and then we can directly run our program. So the real hardware is not required and firmware development we can easily do and well in advance. So the advanced conditions will be there in this. And one more point is it saves the development time also. Why? Because if I am connecting directly to the hardware path, if I am getting any error, I need to check the entire hardware. But if I am using this simulator path, then I will check easily where the error I am getting. Like that I will check and then I will go to the hardware content. Okay, and we can simulate the IO peripherals also. So simulate has an option to simulate various IO peripherals. And by using this simulator IOs, we can give some values to the IO registers and then we can execute according to our needs. And it eliminates the connecting IO devices and debugging in the firmware. So these are the advantages, and some more advantages are there. That is, if you are having any abnormal conditions also, this simulator will work. So it will controls the flow during the debugging process. And next one is the simulator helps to develop abnormal operations environment of firmware, and the behavior of firmware is uncharacteristic conditions studied by using the simulator we can see. Right. So till now we discussed about the advantages of the simulator. So now we are going to discuss about the limitations of the simulator. So the deviations of the simulator we need to know. So it doesn't have the real-time behavior. So we can't see the real-time result. That is the only problem, major problem we are having in this simulator concept. Okay, so it will run the production environment and particular result may not get. The result what we are getting in the software, that result will come. But if you are going to the real-time concept, then there may be chances of occurring differences between the simulator result as well as the hardware result. Okay, so and next one is real-timeness. Okay, so this will happens because this is a simulator. Okay, so simulator based debugging it doesn't have any real-time behaviors. So for that reason we can't get the real-time results in this simulator. So that is the major problem occurred in this simulators. Lack of real timeliness is there in this simulator concept. So this is the major disadvantage of this simulator concept. Right now the research is going on to include this real-timeness. So hope we will get soon this real-timeness in our simulators also. Okay, so IO conditions is there and regular real-time applications is there. So the next concept is nothing but the emulators. So what is this emulators? We need to know. So the emulator is nothing but the mediator between the software path to the hardware path. So we can see this one as a emulator, in circuit emulator we can say. So means the emulator, the pure software applications which perform the functioning of a hardware emulator is nothing but the emulators we can say. So emulator is a hardware device which combines the software as well as the hardware. So it is acting as a mediator. So it will directly debugs the firmware result of what we are getting to the hardware part. Means, so in the, we are going to the simulator. So it is simply the software related path. If you are going to the emulator, then simply the software result we can implement it in the hardware part. So we can dump that software programming to the hardware part. That is nothing but the emulator we can say. Okay, so pure software applications performing in the hardware emulator is nothing but the emulator we can say. If you are seeing this system, so here I am connecting the RS-232 cable to the in-circuit emulator. So between the CPU to the ICE in-circuit emulator, there is a RS-232 cable is there, means it's a serial communication device, and it will be transferred to the emulator POD. Okay, so this is the target board what we are having. And next one is nothing but the debugging. Okay, so what is this debugging? Simply we can say that finding an errors is nothing but the debugging. So bugs is nothing but the errors. Okay, so debug means system or the user or the person who is working on that is going to find out and clear that bugs is nothing but the debugging concept we can say. Okay, here we wrote the point, that is process of diagnosing the firmware execution, monitoring the targets, and processor registers, memories. So all these contents we are including in this debugging only. So the debugging will be divided into two parts broadly. So they are classified as hardware debugging as well as the firmware debugging. So if you are going to the hardware debugging, so in the hardware debugging, so we need to check in the hardware contents where we are getting some errors like that. And if you are going to the firmware debugging, we are going to check in the programming part where the errors we are getting like that, and we are going to clear that by using this debugging concept. So improvement over firmware debugging we are getting. So in the inline breakpoint we are creating. So by using this inline breakpoint, so we just kept some specified point and inserting an inline debugging code immediately after that particular point. Then automatically it shows that the printf function in the string. Okay, it was shows in the hyper terminal that this debugging will be cleared like that. I will show you this in the practical sessions clearly. Okay, and the next one is in circuit emulator. So this is also one type of improvement done in the firmware debugging concept. Okay, so we are using this USB interfacing concept or else RS-232 cable to the in circuit emulator to clear the bugs. Okay, this is one type of application used for the clearance of bugs. And next one is target hardware debugging. Till now we discussed about the software path. Now we are going to discuss about target hardware debugging. So in the target hardware debugging, we are getting a problem of soldering contents. So while we are soldering, there we are getting some of the problems, dry soldering contents. And next one is missing connections of the PCB is one type of hardware problems we are getting. And next one is misplaced components is there, and signal corruption due to the noise we are getting. So these are the major bugs we are getting in the hardware content. So to eliminate that, we are designing this debugging concept. Okay, simply we send an electrical signal through the system, then we can easily find out where we are getting these problems like. Okay, so it is only to sort out the issues where we are getting, right? So till now we discussed about the software or firmware debugging. Okay, in the next session we discuss about hardware debugging concepts. Okay, thank you.